was this some of it? Because it seems like, looking at Libya, there are blacks here, but they're not like 100%. But it looks like of the people that got executed, they're approaching 50% or better.
Yes.
This almost requires a choice to kill people based on how they look.
Yes.
And that I'd like to understand. Is that your opinion, that they're in particular gunning for not just the mercenary and the migrants, but black Libyans in particular to be punished as a group?
Yes. In my personal opinion, and being here as the member of the fact-finding commission, what I can say about that question is that at the beginning of this crisis, they wanted to show the Gaddafi's inclination of blacks, because he has more relation with Africans, and the first thing was to break this relation that he has with the African, the sub-Saharan countries, because he was already won with the Arabs, that the Arabs are against him. Then now he was to bring blacks also against him. That was the target. And why killing blacks in Benghazi at the beginning was to show to the African that no, you are here, you are mercenaries to create this
fear?
Yes, no, to create this distance between the Africans and Gaddafi. Yes.
Gilbert, why don't you give them a little of your own background,
yes,
and how you've come to be here at the fact-finding mission?
Yes, I will answer then. I will return. Yes. What happened? What happened in Benghazi at the beginning, and according to anonymous sources of people coming from the other side of Benghazi, it happened that the military who was killed in the military cousin in Benghazi, was killed by another group of people coming from another city, which is Al-Baida. Those group of people, they are the one who came in the cousin of Benghazi to steal weapons and to start fighting with the militaries, and among which you can find blacks and white. But they describe those black Libyans as black mercenaries.
Okay, I'm lost. The soldiers that were fighting against the government soldiers were mixed, black and white?
Yes.
Okay, and they were mercenaries?
No.
They were...
They were opposition in Benghazi.
Okay,
wanted to show them as mercenaries.
I understand.
Because finally, after they claimed that those blacks were mercenaries, and their family in this part of the western Libya, when they saw their fellows in the TV, they claimed that those are our brothers. And during the investigation, that investigation was made by the Libyan TV, and we can have even film, and the families are still there. The family are there.
Is there a registry of at least? I was watching the television until about 3 this morning to see what was happening, and there's some that weren't there. I think I saw about 4 or 5 black Libyan families where they had
the pictures
killed soldiers. There was about at least 5. It's more than that, but I'm certain there were 5. Are there names of these, or at least narratives, like what we're seeing now and then as you see certain things from Libyan television, who they were, how they were they executed, blah. Is there like at least a few names that people had? There were some from the first film.
Yes.
It would be nice to have that, because especially the one who was lynched.
Yes.
This is...
Okay, we will try to see with
TV does have an interview with the family.
Yes,
and
they have the,
whatnot.
even the interview is also translated into English or French.
Okay.
The interview with the families, with the father, mother, and I will try to see with my colleagues, with my living colleagues, to see if we can even be able to meet one of those families. That would be great also.
The other thing we've been arguing, I know Dijon has, I have, the opposition people, they lie the trash, garbage, okay? The allegation of these numbers, oh, Gaddafi has killed 10,000 people. It's the numbers from the Jamhuriya need to be in our hands to publish. How many happened, like when they're mentioning in the first film. So when you have, what, 5 or 6 people, they started the violence, they precipitated the violence, committed violence. As long as the government was in control, nobody was being injured. So, but what are the numbers that Libya has? And then that's important, because once you see the news that we heard on the protests, which I didn't believe, it just sounded crazy, is that they just began shooting and killing people. I was thinking, just a little bit I know about Libya, Gaddafi, that would make sense. The eastern half of the country has always been difficult. You're from a small tribal group, the army's got, you don't want to, this society can't work with a conflict between the different groups. It would spin out of control. It's not structured for that kind of conflict. It requires that people talk, because if people start shooting, the whole thing goes. They wanted the country to explode. So I was thinking that wouldn't happen. They wouldn't just kill people for the sake of it. But that's what we were hearing, and I became interested because I was thinking, I'm hearing it, but I worked in media. I don't buy it, because there was no input from the Libyan government side. It was all what Al Jazeera, or all of what the opposition said. I've never seen a conflict where there was no discussion from the governmental side.
They did have a press conference after, I think it was 2 weeks or so after it started, with the police and the army talking about the exact numbers and where they died. However, that wasn't covered in the international media. We invited them, but it didn't get played out. They had all the numbers of every area of police and military and civilians that were killed in the beginning. So that, we could probably ask about getting those details, but that was on TV.
We believe you, we're just saying, we need to have it, because...
And to have even the exact number, we were approached also the authority in charge, which is the internal ministry. Then it means we will try to see, because that was not even our target at the beginning, and we will include it in our, to have at least the number of soldiers, because when soldiers goes on the front line, they are registered. Yes. At least they can provide us the number of people killed. And in some other areas, most of them has been incinerated.
By the bombing.
Burned.
No remains. Maybe
no remains. And even the day before yesterday, this has nothing to see with our mission, because that is my personal opinion as I watch it. The day before, we were hearing again, we were listening as they were advising the rebels, when they kill, they should burn them. They should not leave any trace of human being. Then I think now everything is well known, and but for the case of Benghazi especially, we will try to have all information about the number of people who were killed, the exact number.
I at a press conference in Washington, I asked the UN High Commissioner for Refugees, Guterres, he's a former Portuguese Prime Minister, about the situation with the rebels killing the guest workers from Sub-Saharan Africa. And I asked him, have you brought these concerns up? Because he had been to Benghazi. And he said, yes, he made this concern